Okay, why don't we do this Q&A?
I guess it's about time we fucked around for
I
like an
think it's
hour.
about time. We fucked around quite enough. All right, guys, welcome to the Barokoshama and Naesam Q&A live here on Twitch and YouTube. You can do your intro now.
Nah,
Come on. What is up, you guys? Naesam here.
there. I don't need to do it. See?
There you go. All right, so the way that we're going to be doing this is kind of like a back and forth. We're going to be having one person being the main answerer and the other person asking the questions, but also still putting his 2 cents in. So let's get started. I'll ask the first question, and these are all recorded from either YouTube or Earth Shrine or here live on Twitch in either of our channels. So these were all questions submitted by you guys. First question is, what is the best build? No, it's not. That's not the best. First question is, so does the new stat priority make trinkets like Swarming Plague Hive kind of useless? What
Well,
are your thoughts?
I mean, you can use it. Like, there's a lot of trinkets even back in 7.1 that had a stat on it that wasn't really desirable, that was still really good, like
Yeah.
Derby having mastery.
Or Neuraxis Spike Tongue.
So it's not necessarily that. It's more the fact that, well, we got the secondary stat changes that made it so you need more of one stat to get like 1%. Basically a nerf all around. And we get a whole bunch of spell power buffs to things like Lava Burst, Elemental Blast, Ice Fury. That made it so
Yep.
intellect is so much better. So
Yep.
generally trinkets with intellect have kind of overtaken those trinkets, and that's the reason you're seeing this being so low.
And you're seeing stat sticks become so much higher on our more desired trinket lists. So
It says so much intellect on it.
yeah, that's so much intellect on it. And then also like the stat that we want too. That's most beneficial to us. All right, next question. Hopefully that answered it for you guys.
So from Daniel Pritchard, 7.5, what do you guys think about the nerfs to most of the Elemental Shaman legendaries, the boots in particular?
Um, when we're talking about the boots are actually kind of RNG, but also OP. I would say they're pretty OP, and they worked so well with the legendary shoulders that it was kind of like your rotation got lost in between two spells at some point. So, with Blizzard changing legendaries, and not to say that this has only happened to shamans, where they just kind of like changed our legendaries so much. It's happened with other classes too, where they're going to change the scaling on them, or they're going to change them for a whole different effect of what they do. So this hasn't just happened for shamans, but I think that definitely moving around what our most desirable legendaries is going to be, or pretty much just balancing them in general, is more of what Blizzard wanted to achieve when they did this. So I think that it's actually a good thing. It brings us more of a versatile legendary choice. And I don't think that Blizzard was really in the wrong when they did this. I mean, yeah, it sucks. The boots got nerfed by 15%. It was also like a really fun thing, your rotation, that if you had the boots, Earth Shocks proccing back to back, that's cool. But as I said, get lost in between spells, aka Earth Shock and Earthquake, if you had the two pairings. So I think that was definitely something that they wanted to fix.
So I agree that legendaries were kind of like out of control, but at the same time, with the changes in 7.1.5, you aren't really casting Earthshock as much, at least not with Ice Fury. So nerfing it to 15% was kind of ridiculous. It was actually below. It was tied with the healing pants, but they did put it
Yep.
back to 20%, so it's a little better now, and I think that's kind of an okay spot. I would like 25, but 20 is okay.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next one by Villiona's Bloodwing from YouTube. Yes, will we finally be able to transmog these goofy looking fist weapons? The answer is no.
No.
No. He also says, thanks for the help, you two. I've really assisted me in taking my main to a whole new level. You're welcome.
Yep. So next question, Barack. Is
Wait.
that it? Is that it?
Yeah,
That one?
yeah, that's the next question. That's
Okay.
it.
So from
We're never getting rid of our goofy looking fork.
it's actually beautiful.
Ever. It's beautiful.
All right,
I
so
think
next
we should have
question.
gotten the, but yeah.
From Chocolate Thunder, what is the best build in 7.1.5, and is there a big difference between the Ice Fury build and the Ascendance build, or is it not that different?
Hold on, repeat the question.
What is the best build in 7.1.5, and is there a big difference between the Ice Fury build and the Ascendance build, or is it not that different?
Honestly, I don't think that there is a best build or one that's going to be a real cookie cutter one, the one that just shines above everyone else in every situation. You're going to have situations where you're going to be using Lightning Rod when it's like a heavy cleave fight, or Ascendance is going to be very, very good for maybe a two target council fight or something like that. And as far as Ice Fury being the difference between Ice Fury and Ascendance, it's literally only 2% damage increase to go Ice Fury if and only if you don't fuck up your rotation like I do. And it's completely and utterly, just executed correctly at 100% maximumness of awesomeness as Naesam does all the fucking time. You know, so like, unless you fuck it up, that 2%'s 2%. But if you fuck it up, it's just like the 2% goes out the window. So there's definitely a lot more versatile talent choices when it comes to next patch for us. And I think that shamans are actually one of those classes that are going to be the most versatile talent choices as opposed to boss fight scenarios. Don't you think so?
Wait, can you repeat that last part?
Wow, you did one of me. You did a thing that I did. Okay, yeah. I said shamans are actually going to be one of the most versatile classes when it comes to talent changes, boss
Oh,
scenarios.
yeah, definitely, yeah. We have so many different things we can specialize at.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it. Like Ice Fury is going to be like a high movement but also single target fight. Ascendance is going to be low movement or council fight. Lightning Rod just going to be total cleave, balls to the wall madness, or Mythic Plus. So moving on to the next question. This one comes from Alaris from Twitch. How do you feel about people calling Ellie Flavor of the Month in 715? This triggers me so much, but
I mean, to call something flavor of the month, I feel like it has to be kind of like really OP, and I don't think Ellie is that at all.
no.
I really hate the term flavor of the month because people will just kind of say that for anything that's getting
And this
buffed.
has never happened with Ellie Shaman.
I don't think Ellie's
Never
ever been
happened.
flavor of the month. Yeah,
Never been Flavor of the Month.
especially not
I
right
think,
now.
yeah, I think we're just finding a lot more. Yeah, Buckeye says he fucking hates it. We were talking about this earlier in the stream, but I feel that there's just a lot more enhanced shamans coming over, and that's where all this skepticism of Flavor of the Month is, I think, coming from. Like, there's just a lot more talk about it because enhanced shamans are switching over. We're getting more noticed as a
Hmm.
legitimate caster DPS instead of just a spot on the bench, I
And like
guess.
top guilds
That's,
are like recruiting or making people go LE for Nighthold, and that's making people think, oh, it's flavor of the month, but like, maybe it's just a good
no,
spec.
yeah, it's just a good spec now. It's a all around good spec, and people need to understand that and not be so caught up in the past and what it's been like for several expansions. Even though I've bucked it out, and I'm sure Naesam has too for several expansions, us masochists, like ridiculous, ridiculous.
We pretend we don't like it, but we actually do.
We do.
We're
We love
sad
it.
about the buffs. I love the pain.
Yes. Yes. All right, moving on. Next question.
So this one's from Bard Pit. It says, will our stat priority change in the upcoming patch?
Stat priority is actually going to be changing for two builds. I think crit and haste is still going to be very much appreciated for the lightning rod build if we're doing mythic pluses. That could also change though. I don't know how mastery is going to look with lightning rod. What do you think about that? Mastery and haste might be like a big thing
Well, the
for
thing is
that.
that mastery is really bad for AoE, so the only time you're really using lightning rod is going to be for AoE, so I would say avoid mastery for that.
Yeah. But when it comes to ice fury and ascendance, mastery is so, I guess, needed. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
like it's needed, but it's also like valued heavily with those builds because of how much Maelstrom we need to gain with Ice Fury alone, and how much more damage Ascendant's spec or build does with Lava Burst, because it already crits. So like you're already critting all the time with your Lava Burst. So the next best thing is just going to be a um, mastery stacked build when it comes to something like that. What are your thoughts on that, Naesam?
Yeah, Ascendant is like really balls deep into mastery, and then Ice Fury is kind of like mastery and crit are basically tied. But yeah, mastery is definitely going to be up there, and before it was like way down, so it's a huge change in
Yeah,
stat priority.
it was like avoided at all costs, or at least try to. Otherwise, you're suffering. But yeah, okay. Moving on to the next question. This one also comes from Bard Pit. What will our new rotations look like? I'd
Um,
like to I'd like to actually kind of go in depth as to what this question may or what he might be wanting to ask is like, what does it feel like? What does it look like in the sense of, I guess, a visual sense of it, but also like a feel for it and play style.
so what do you want to start with?
I want to start with our rotations are a lot more flashy, I'd say. They're a lot more visually appealing. We're not stuck in this loop of casting lightning rod all the fucking or lightning bolt all the damn time now. So this is I think it's a big step in the direction of what we would want our rotation to look like and what we would want our rotation to be about. Honestly, casting one spell is boring as fuck. And Ascendance
Mm.
is really on that borderline if it wasn't for Elemental Blast and Earthshock.
Then
Because
literally in
we're
Ascendant is
cast
one spell. It's great.
yeah. Ascendance is totally not one spell. We have four, okay?
Until you pop it.
So yeah, so that's what I feel is coming to that. And of course Ice Fury is gonna be huge um when it comes to a rotation that is extremely challenging but also fun at the same time.
Ice
What do you
Fury is
think, Shem?
definitely there's a lot going on. So if you're used to like the current rotation on live, where it's like if you see something off cooldown, you hit it, and then you spam lightning bolt, it's gonna be way crazy.
Yeah,
So
this
prepare
reminds me of a
yourself.
time. This reminds me of a time when I was on PTR for the first time, and I went Ice Fury build, and like everything lit up at the same time, and I was like, "What is going on? What do I do?"
Full panic. What do I do?
Full panic, initiate self-destruct. Like it was ridiculous, and it can get very overwhelming. I totally, I was actually kind of convinced that I didn't want to go Ice Fury for the longest time until I practiced it for about 2 days straight, and then I finally got a feel for it. Yes, it took me forever. I'm sure Naesam picked it up in like 30 minutes.
I just like
Not even,
logged on and saw the light or the buttons light up and just knew exactly what to do.
yeah, exactly what to do.
Totally, that's exactly
So
what happened.
we're gonna save questions from the stream to the last one, last moment, if we're good on time, I guess.
Yeah.
Going on to the next question.
What will our new preferred relics be in 7.1.5 if they're gonna change?
We're at me now, right?
I, I mean that the last
Like
one was
I'm
kind of mine, but
answering.
oh,
Yeah,
then you answered it. So you want me to answer this one?
yeah, you answer this one.
So
Sorry, I just had a lot more to say last time. I
yeah,
don't know.
you were more prepared
But it
for
was
that one.
like you were gonna say the same thing anyway.
Yeah. For the relics, it's basically the new preferred one's going to be lava imbued. That for both builds is probably going to be the best. Earth and Attunement was looking to be good for Ice Fury, but there appears to have been some kind of SimCraft bug where it was also buffing Frost Shock. So we haven't actually concluded anything yet, but we're pretty sure Lava Imbued is going to be the best for Ice Fury as well, which makes it a lot simpler. It's just really annoying because it's hard to find those relics.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's definitely a change from right now, because right now you're mostly going like Call the Thunder and stuff because of Lightning Rod. So Lava
Yeah.
Imbued
But
is going
there's
to be the new ones.
yeah, I like that though. I like that we're going into something that is new and fresh. But do you know if these bugs have been fixed and like there's new information out there that says that whatever is the most desirable relic.
I don't think they have yet, because we found out about it like today.
Oh yeah, true, true. Okay.
Earth and Attunement really wasn't that far ahead, and Frost Shock was like the main damage source, so there's a really good chance it's going to be lava imbued.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to our Ice Fury build, Lava Burst is like our second damaging spell. So that just makes sense that Lava Imbued works with that. And it honestly makes it easier for us to switch between those builds even more with not just itemizing our gear. Could have been a real struggle if that had to happen with our relics too. Or if we switched to a different build but we were losing damage because of our relic.
Yeah. Every time you switch specs, you get screwed because you don't have the right relics. That would be really
Yeah.
bad.
It would be bad, so I think that's a good move. I don't know if Blizzard actually intended that to happen. Maybe it just worked out.
Hope so, but I
Yeah.
doubt it.
Yeah, Blizzard's not that smart.
I don't think they're looking quite that far into it.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. I will answer this one.
Okay, so I'll read it. Wait, are we gonna? Oh, yeah, we are. Okay, so my question
Yeah.
for the Barokoshama and Naesam video is, why do you seem to disagree on using Ask Mr. Robot?
Oh, this is a question that we both need to answer.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Ask Mr. Robot has a history of being bad, just like the Elemental Shaman.
True.
True. You're not wrong. Like, I remember back in Miss Pandaria, the thing was just completely and utterly screwed over. Like, it just didn't make sense what was going on. Now that I look at it now, there's a lot of it that you need to pay for. Why? Like, why is that a thing? Like, you shouldn't have to pay for information that should be free to you. What me and Naesam do, you guys don't have to pay. It's just
Yeah.
one of the things I wanted to talk about, but I'll let you in here and say some words as well.
I mean, Ask Mr. Robot definitely has its flaws, but I think it also has its benefits. Like,
Agreed.
they do have a new simming thing that's a lot more user-friendly than SimC is. It's still being worked on, though.
SimC as in SimCraft, so you
Yeah,
guys know.
SimCraft. Or Simulation Craft. It's definitely not quite as polished as Simulation Craft is, but it's definitely a lot easier to use. So
Yeah.
hopefully, if they finish that and get it polished, it could be really good, and it's free as well. And
Yeah.
then
The
also,
SimCraft, I guess we could call it a SimCraft on or Ask Mr. Robot Sim. I'll just say that.
yeah,
But
the AMR Sims or whatever.
yeah.
And the other
You want to
benefit
talk
is if
sorry.
you if you need like a certain piece really bad, you can go to their best in slot finder and put in your desired stat weight. So like you can sim yourself and like put in your pawn string and the stat weights, and you can find like the best piece you can get from a dungeon or something, because you know what to
Yeah.
run to farm it. But other than that, it's not particularly amazing, and you have to
No.
pay for
I
a lot of
mean,
things.
we also ran into even discussing this before today's stream. We ran into something on Ask Mr. Robot that was actually quite interesting. Well, interesting, but also like also telling us that Ask Mr. Robot's not and should not be used religiously. It's not smart with your stat weights. Ask Mr. Robot doesn't know when you equip certain gear, and then it also doesn't know that crit falls behind other stats when you get to a certain value of it. It just thinks that crit is the whole shebang, and you want crit, crit, crit all the fucking time. But a balance of your stats after crit is most desirable. As to, by the way, we're talking about live servers right now with Ask Mr. Robot. We're not talking about 715, and things are totally subject to change when it comes to Ask Mr. Robot. But like I mentioned before, it shouldn't be really followed religiously, but take anything that it says with a grain of salt, and also don't look to one place for information when it comes to gearing your character and looking for the best in slot, but also what's going to optimize your character in that sense.
Yeah, they need
All
to
right,
make
moving
it so
on.
it's a little more like dynamic. That's the biggest thing.
I agree. I agree. Make it more dynamic. They're working on it. I feel that it's great when it comes to user friendly environment, but it needs to be smarter. All right, now we can move on to the next one. Dude, what the fuck, bro? We win. He's here in the stream. This is a question from him. Because of the nerfs and buffs to legendaries, what combo will be best in 715?
So let me just open up the graph here.
Open up the graph.
Hopefully you don't mind like plugging this, but there's a graph on stormythandlava.com, and on top is the Eye of Twisting Nether Ring, but
Yeah.
it's not anywhere near as good for Ascendance as the belt. Well, and you're not anywhere near as good as within like 5k DPS to me. So, yeah, but it's basically like the top three are.
Now to Naesam, that's huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
Huge. That's huge.
The top three are Eye of Twisted Nether, Proto Drake, or Pristine Proto Skilled, Girdle, and Uncertain Reminder.
I always have a trouble. I always have a hard time pronouncing that one. I don't know why. Fucking sucks. Yeah, I mean, I think that this is a really good balance for legendaries because it touches upon what like scenarios as we discussed earlier with our build pass. Like if we have 3 different legendaries, well, we're going to be able to use 3 different legendaries and not just like the best 2, right? We're going to be
Yeah.
able to use various amounts of legendaries when it comes to scenario boss fights, right? So
And almost all of them have their own little benefit. I think that's kind of what you're touching on there.
exactly. Yeah. For sure. Like overall though, I think that Eye of the Twisting Nether is the best legendary because it's not that far behind Pristine Proto Scale Girdle. And it benefits Ice Fury build amazingly. I don't know what else to say about that. We can
One thing I want to say is that it is nice that as LE Shamans, our very best legendary by far with the best spec catering to it is still only like not even 30k DPS higher than having no legendaries, which is really rare right now.
yeah,
You
true.
don't need legendaries to perform well.
Exactly. All right. I have this chill piano music on my screen right now.
So fitting.
Felipe on YouTube said that the music before was not good for the Q&A. So I switched it up a little bit.
Some chill, relaxing
Some
modes there or
chill,
something.
relaxing. No, it's just like cafe kind of stuff. Chill house.
And did you want me to answer the second part of that question, or do you want me to read it to you?
No, you can answer the second part of that question.
So what trinkets will we want to look out for in 7.1.5? And as we kind of touched on earlier, it's going to be mostly the intellect trinkets.
Yeah. So you'll see that on the ones that we've actually been using for the start of this stream. Erratic Metronome and Whispers in the Dark. They're huge on intellect. Those are the ones that we can find in the Nighthold raid. But we also kind of like complained a little bit on their effects.
Yeah,
Like
they're a little RNG for us.
they're a little RNG and they can really fuck up your ascendance if it happens at a undesirable time. But yeah, when it comes to trinkets, like we said before, we definitely want to look for those, either the stat sticks or something with a lot of intellect on it, but also an effect that's going to benefit when it comes to single target or whatever situation happens to be the scenario.
There are also graphs for that as well,
Yeah.
for every single trinket other than stat sticks, because those are personal.
Right now, though, as we touched upon this a little bit before, but like sims for the Nighthold trinkets currently aren't working.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know exactly which trinkets are going to be the best in slot ones, correct?
Right, we're just kind of going off of like dummy tests and stuff, which isn't really reliable.
Yeah. Which is unfortunate. I mean, we would love to get this information out to you guys as soon as possible. All right. That was it for the dude, what the fuck, bro, we win question. let's move on.
So from Pragmat1C, probably pragmatic, I want to
It
know
is
if
pragmatic.
I want to know if I gear for Ascendance build with Mastery crit, am I gonna lose huge DPS if I go Ice Fury with the same gear, or do I need to have separate gear in my bags with crit and Mastery?
Um, this is a good question. I mean, there's going to be a lot of alarms when it comes to something like this. But I think, and I'm pretty sure Naesam would back me up on this, that it's not going to be a big deal switching between those two builds because when it comes to Ice Fury, crit and mastery are actually very close to each other. So even if you have a little bit more mastery rating than crit rating, it's not going to affect you that much. You're still going to be able to do a lot of damage, and you shouldn't have to worry about it that much.
Yeah, like if you
Or
have like rings that have like higher crit or something, then you should probably hang on to those just in case. But otherwise, it's not gonna be a huge deal.
higher crit and a lower mastery is what.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, not just like a crit and then a haste.
Yeah, you still want Mastery as well.
Yeah, you still want mastery. Mastery is very important because it helps with maelstrom generation, like huge. I'm
Huge.
gonna say that a lot. I'm gonna say that a lot. Uh, yeah, okay. There's a second part to it.
Oh, we would cover when to replace legendary gear if it means 2 or 4 piece.
There's actually information on this in the legendary item guide for both. Is it both specs? If we went to these
It's under the
ice
like
free, oh,
individual thing, stats and
yeah,
gear.
stats and gear. So if we actually go under Storm Earth and if we go to Storm Earth and Lava, it'll actually tell you when to replace legendaries with gear. And this is some really great information. So we'll share one with you guys. So for the headpiece, which is best in slot, second legendary for the Ice Fury build. It says to do not to replace it with the LFR difficulty, which is item level 850, or the normal difficulty, which is item level 875, helmet to gain or maintain the two-piece bonus. But to replace it on the heroic difficulty to gain or maintain the two-piece bonus. And obviously do replace the legendary in any difficulty to get the four-piece bonus. If you can get the four-piece bonus, switch out the head. So this is just an example of what it says here on the Storm Earth and Lava guide, but we're definitely going to be plugging that into our videos so you guys can check out that information. But that information is available for you guys, free of charge, obviously. Not like Ask Mr. Robot's going to freaking do that.
This is a non-profit website.
It's a non-profit website, strictly for information for you guys. So hopefully that answers your question, dude. Dude.
Dude.
All right. He has another one. I'll ask this one though. He's got a few questions. So pragmatic also says, oh wait, no, that was a
Oh, I guess that was a
clip.
follow-up.
Like clip. Go on to the next question. This is from verusvirtue or verusvirtue. I love that name either way. What build will you be using for Ellie in 715? This kind of touches upon what we were talking about before with like scenarios, but I'll let
Yeah.
you answer that.
So we mostly agreed on this. Like I think I'll be using Ice Free a little more than you will from the sounds of it, unless you were
Yeah.
joking. But basically, like if for pure single target Ice Fury, I'm probably gonna be using Ice Fury. But for like anything with cleave or like something that has another target to dot, then I'll probably be using Ascendance. And even just like if it's a really hard, like mechanically challenging fight, I might just use Ascendance because the DPS difference is really minor. And if you have to focus on mechanics, you might mess up your rotation and you'll end up doing less damage, and you also might end up dying. So it's
Yeah.
you can use either one really.
So that's what I was saying before. Like the two DPS or the 2% DPS increase is so minor when it comes to actually like executing, but also staying alive and doing those mechanics properly and 100% effectively. Like it can be quite scary unless you're like extremely comfortable with the rotation and you've mastered it and you know the boss inside out, positioning wise, and also mechanics wise. Maybe we recommend going with a simpler build just for that reason.
Yeah, if you're a less experienced player, I would definitely maybe like use a Ice Fury on farm or something easy just to get a feel for it. But I would definitely progress
Yeah,
with Ascendant.
for sure.
So next question is from Unknown or Anonymous. Where do you think Elemental stands in regards to other DPS classes in 7.1.5?
Um, Based on what I've seen and what I've heard and what I've noticed, I think we're definitely going to be like top 5 DPS. But that could be completely wrong. I mean, like, for the difference that we have on live and what we see on PTR, it's pretty huge.
Huge.
It's pretty huge.
Yeah, the Sims and
So,
stuff are pretty, like, we don't know how the other classes are being kept and stuff, so it's kind of
yeah,
hard
we
to
don't pay
judge.
attention to Shadow Priests and mages and shit because we don't give a shit
Yeah, fuck 'em.
about them. Fuck them. But I think we're definitely going to be competitive, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I definitely think we'll be at least above the average.
At least above the average. Yeah, we're not going to be middle average to lower pack as to what Sims had shown before.
They had the wrong APL during that one.
Yeah, obviously. But I mean, when it came to the current live tier and late rating, at least Shaman's actually performed very well. We just needed the gear, honestly. And if you sticked it out, you would have noticed that your DPS was not where it was before, like midway through the current raid tier.
Come from the guy with his best insult legendary combo.
I know, right? I was top DPS on Guarm. It was ridiculous. My enhanced shaman was like, well, not my enhanced shaman, but the enhanced shaman in my guild was like, what the fuck? It was quite funny.
To bamboozle him.
Bamboozled. Until we killed it, and then it was like my worst pull, and I died twice. So
That's how it always is. You gotta sacrifice yourself
how
for
it always is.
the
Like
boss kill.
always happens on the worst pull where you kill the boss that you're pressing on. Yeah, I mean, not all DPS. Maybe we'll swindle that down to ranged. We're gonna be up there on the range casters and the ranged.
And that's all that matters,
Accurate.
let's be honest.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Survival hunters, fuck them.
Top DPS, Survival Hunter, no one will take it anyway.
I want to take it anyway. What is a survival hunter? It has mechanical issues. Don't bother. All right, moving on. This is from. Wait, seriously, Fleshmonster?
He was asking, like, he was saying that this would probably be a good question, so I didn't really know how to word that. He was asking for others.
Okay. Will lightning rod be viable for any Nighthold fights?
So, I mean, it. We haven't really
I
done
mean,
enough
you
testing.
did the Nighthold testing, man. This would be
Yeah.
a question for you, definitely.
We haven't really done enough, like, testing to know if it's going to be, like, good on any fight, really. I haven't really tested it. But from my experience, I did LFR Nighthold, because this is totally relevant experience. I did LFR on Legion Beta probably like 6 months ago or something. Actually, yeah, about 6 months ago. And I believe it was High Botanist had like 5 target cleave really, really frequently. So if LR is going to be viable, it's going to be on that fight. I just thought I'd put that out there. But we don't really know for sure. We haven't had enough time to test things out. But I do think it'll have its
So
momentary
is
chance.
this a for sure council fight?
It's
or
more
it-
like a ad spawn around the boss. Like 4 or 5 ad spawn. And they last a while.
And oh, they last a while.
Yeah, at least they did on LFR. I don't know about with real players.
Yeah, that definitely might change
hmm
when it comes to what it's gonna look like on live.
So yeah, that's all the
But
information we really know right now.
yeah, I mean this Q&A is mainly for the questions that we can't answer, and we would love to answer all the questions, all the specific ones. But the information just isn't available to us at the moment when it comes to stuff like this.
Yeah.
We would hope that all 3 builds would be able to be used. That'd be really cool. I would actually enjoy that a lot. even though I'd still be spamming lightning bolt.
Chain lightning, actually.
Oh, true, true. So this one comes from the Elemental Shaman Discord on the Earth Shrine server. I've heard Mastery is going to be good in 715, but I can't figure out a change on any of the last month's PTR changes as to why that would be. What makes it so strong?
Well, it's not a change to Mastery that makes this Mastery strong. It's the fact that we got, for one thing, Lava Burst got a pretty massive buff, Elemental Blast got a massive buff, and Ice Fury got a very massive buff. And all of these spells are things that are affected by Mastery. So now we have Mastery proccing and contributing so much more damage than before, is the main reason. That's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it, yeah. And not only that, but since we're using the Ice Fury build, we've mentioned this part in a couple parts in this video, but Maelstrom generation is very important when it comes to the Ice Fury build. And Mastery helps so much with that it's honestly irreplaceable as a stat when it comes to the build. I don't think you'd be able to run it as fluid as you can on PTR without stacking so much Mastery. Wouldn't you agree, Naesam?
Yeah, it definitely does help with like gaining the Maelstrom and keeping your elemental focus up without losing your stacks and stuff.
Exactly, because those overloads can crit as well.
I meant the Maelstrom generation, so you don't run out and then have to like use the buff on something else. But yeah,
No,
yeah,
dude,
that
I'm
works
talking
too.
about elemental focus, man.
It'll do.
It'll do. All right. That concludes the questions that we have here on our spreadsheet. Yes, we made a spreadsheet
We're tryhards.
for tryhards. Um, just do the outro. My mic's not working on Twitch.
Oh, rip. Well, that's it for the Q&A, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for asking questions. Hopefully, we could answer some of the most common questions in the community. Hopefully, you guys learned something. Get hyped for 7.1.5. We're looking really good. And thanks, Barak, for hosting. I'll be uploading it onto my YouTube channel as well with more editing because Barak doesn't edit, lol.
Well,
So thanks again, guys.